This week's US CQM Forecast Alert is: don't just look at GDP to judge the current economic situation. From a comparison of the updated monthly economic indicators and their ADIMA forecast, the upward revision of the GDP price deflator and the upward revision of the economic growth rate by PCA can be easily inferred. Real GDP on both the expenditure and income side was revised slightly downwards. As a result, the average growth rate of real GDP on both sides as a better measure of economic growth becomes 1.86%. All inflation indicators were revised upwards. In particular, the GDP price deflator was revised upwards by 0.38% to a growth rate of 1.92%. PCA has revised up its economic growth rate to 1.68%, largely due to the impact of June's Industrial Production Index and retail sales, while also raising its GDP price deflator to 2.41%. Like GDP, the forecast of real aggregated indexes also show the economic slowdown in the second half of 2025 Q2. However, the growth rate of final sales and domestic demand are significantly different from GDP. In other words, don't just look at GDP to judge the current economic situation. As seen in the abnormal increase in inventory change and imported goods in 2025 Q1, the uncertainty in forecasting economic growth rate in 2025 Q2 lies in how the impact of Trump tariffs will affect inventories and imported goods. Conclusions from this week's US CQM Forecast Alert. The first, there is a great risk in relying solely on GDP to judge the current economic situation. The second, main factors causing uncertainty about the economic growth rate in 2025 Q2 are inventory changes and imported goods. The third, compared to the PCA forecast, the CQM forecast are somewhat higher for GDP growth and somewhat lower for the GDP price deflator. This slide contains additional information about this week's detailed CQM forecast.